Okay, welcome. The more that I am, um, this is podcast number 6, video number 1, part 3 of 3. I already had this done, and I discovered that once you do the video, it's already uploaded to YouTube. So I thought that you could delete the video on my iPhone, but of course you can't. So I lost the video. So I have to do this part over. Let me just tell you where I am. Um, so the name of the topic is podcast 6, video 1, part 3 of 3. The topic is life. The subtopic is how I ended in a psychiatric ward for 17 days. I am the great Jewish atheist at gmail.com. I described how I got there. You can see that in my other podcasts. And I started talking about my 17-day stay at the Zucker Hospital. And I basically thought the best way to go about it is to describe it in terms of the people I met. And I talked about my 3 roommates already, Keith, Tevin, and I don't remember his name, I call him the crack guy because he was so messed up on crack. Okay, so then I went into some significant characters, and there's so much to talk about. I think we're going to go into podcast 6. I'm going to talk about the rest of the characters. In podcast 7. In podcast 6, part 3 of video 1, part 3 of 3, I believe I talked about Diana, Jean, and Gina, but unfortunately I lost that, so let me go through it again. Now, first let me talk about Diana. And in the 17 days, Diana fell in love with me. So a couple of things. Diana is exactly 20 years younger than me to the day. Okay, and Diana has been in the psych ward several times. I don't know how many times. This time she threatened to jump in front of the A train, subway in Manhattan. They took her there. She was an involuntary. And so I got to know Diana, and she seemed pretty okay. I mean, she just seemed someone that somehow that, maybe somehow, she just got a bad deal. I mean, and some of the things that come out in her history is that she lived in Massapequa. So the first thing I thought, maybe her upbringing wasn't that bad and just she had a bad deal. And then I find out that both her parents are intravenous drug users. And both of them had died by the time she turned 20. So for 13 years, she had been on disability and SSI disability. She'd been homeless. She had been on, her father used to give her methadone. She used crack cocaine. She had 2 inpatient substance abuse treatments, probably costing taxpayers about $200,000. That's what I think the going rate. I probably 75. So we'll just be, $150,000. We'll just be, for argument's sake, they probably cost around 70, probably at the low end, because she probably doesn't go to the best rehabs. So we'll say about $150,000. So, me, her, and Jean kind of formed a little group with Princess. We didn't want Princess, and we'll discuss why. Princess is very interesting. So, I had a lot in common with Diana, actually. I like my music. I used to play a lot of songs. We used to get these Kindle not iPads, but Kindle things, and we used to play music, and she had a very common taste with me. And and she seemed to, at least have a little something on the ball. And you know, and I thought at least I can help her. You know, maybe I can help her. I had 20 years on her, and at least, and in terms of, I think one time, so you're going, through things. She would say, "Oh, let's go to the shower together," and I was like, huh? I was like, looks wise, she wasn't terrible. Her little, one bad thing, her hair was thinning at the top. And it's funny, we'll talk evolutionary psychology one day, and people go, "Oh, the girl missing her front teeth. She's missing her front teeth." And one thing I realized is, as bad as anyone looks, if you're missing your teeth, that's bad. I mean, save up your money, get your fucking teeth, because that is like the worst thing you can have. I'm missing a tooth, but at least it's like right here. And I fucked up. I had like some endodontist, and he had to do some work, root canal, and it should have been capped. And I got lazy. I was like fucking drunk and high, and they needed me at 3:00. And I said, "Listen, I'm not feeling well," and I never, got another appointment. And sure enough, it went. I'm missing a fucking tooth. It's an important tooth because it hurts. When I drink cold water. And even cold air bothers. I'm breathing cold air, so probably it's affecting my voice. Who the fuck knows? So teeth are really important. Never realized, you think, oh, So she's missing her front teeth. I think it makes her talk funny. And like people like make fun of her under, in evolution, I forgot what it's called, but they degrade her, lower her. It's called the EC, evolutionary currency, and maybe we'll discuss that. I haven't done any podcasts on evolutionary psychology, but people are competing with each other for mates, and one thing they do is they lower the value of other possible mates. So they might say, let's say a woman says, "Oh, the one who's missing her teeth, right?" And yeah, that's Diana. She's missing her teeth. And one thing I realized, that is like one of the worst things you could, to me, well, in a tribal, society, what does that mean? You're missing your false teeth. It probably means you're too old, At 30, that was old, So, and the only reason why I have her teeth is good dental care, We did, if you were about over 30, probably, that was it for your teeth, There were no dentists, there were no Jewish guys, cleaning teeth, I think 40% of all dentists are, 40% of all dentists are Jewish. And if you go out to Wyoming, you'll probably find some Jewish dentists. All right, come in here, Mr. Come in, they'll have to look at your teeth. I'm in Cheyenne, We'll take a look. You drive over from Casablanca, we'll take a look at your teeth. I bet you could find Dr. Goldberg, DD as in Cheyenne, Wyoming, or wherever, Jackson Hole, or the Jewish dentist, I guarantee. In Wyoming, so it's a very Jewish profession, 40%. So she needs teeth. She should save up. It's the most important thing. And she said, like, one of the choices she had to make after leaving the psych ward, let me spit again, of course, was to get, and I should have told her, she said she wanted to go to rehab again for the third time. And there are other choices to go. She had this rooming house up in the Catskills, and she wanted to go there because she could start a life again, and she just started again with the alcohol and the other shit, just crack and who the fuck knows. And she just started everything over, and the Obama phone, and she would want to rehab. There'd be another $75,000. Now we're up to $225,000, costing the taxpayers. So one thing she said was interesting. I didn't pick it up at the time. She said, "Well, if I go to I think I'm gonna change my impression. If I go to the home rehab, they could do my teeth, but I can't. They have to give my whole check to them." Now I was thinking that would have probably been the best choice. Now she gets her teeth fixed. Now she's doable in terms of, we can help her, but without teeth, that's rough. She's gonna end up to be a bag lady because no one's gonna fuck her. I don't care who. So here I'm, so she gets out. The problem is she has to kill a whole day. For some reason, I don't know what it is. The girl that's going to pick her up, and this girl's really nice. She was in the psych ward too, and she got her own problems. And she's going to take her up to the new rooming house up in, all the way up near Monticello, New York. She kind of drive, and she's, she comes from money. Her husband makes a lot of money. And she's, she had her own problems. She's so lonely, she tried to commit suicide. And so she's nice enough to take her. And so she had to kill some time. So she gets out Wednesday night, and the girl couldn't take it to Thursday morning. So what happened was, so she goes there. So I'm talking on the phone later. I gave her like a dickhead. I gave her my phone number. So she goes, well, I did like it. I couldn't. I had some time to kill. So I met some guy, and we smoked crack, and I slept with him. So okay, that's good. So, and I get in, I meet Lisa, and Lisa takes me up to my new apartment. It's such a big room. And Lisa's like really pissed, like when I gather, because Diana's like saying, she's a bitch, and but she was nice enough to pay for her, and I don't know. So I talked to Diana a little bit, and every time she calls me, gets drunk, she says, I love you, but you don't love me back. And she's all drunk. You don't call me, you don't love me. And she's all cracked up. Who the fuck knows that? And I'm thinking she's fucking full of diseases. She's saying she gets into a fight with this girl because the girl likes her, and she has a crush on her, and she's sleeping with some guy. And this is not good. It's like, so my theory is like, I really want to help her because she has a good head on her shoulder. She's just all drunk and high, and she had a really rough life, but she can't give up the rough life. That it has to be. I couldn't be helped because I had a rough life. And the funniest thing, I think about this whole situation. And this really is like, this is about to put, I'm suicidal already. And I think to me, this is like really ready to push me over the edge. And she's like, she goes to me, she calls me. So first of all, I blocked her. Everyone's telling people in my family, and they're like, just block her. So I blocked her. And somehow she calls me again. I guess there's like two phones up there, in this big rooming house. This guy, he's smart. He takes all his disability paychecks, and he's like a big Hell's Angel guy. He gets him out, like beats the shit out of him, and don't leave or something. Or he knows the cops or something. Who the fuck knows? So she calls me up one day, so on a new line. I don't know. You never call me. I love you, and you gotta love. I just better get. You gotta love me. And I felt like saying, no, I don't have to love you. And then she goes, and like another time she calls me, and like this is like the last time I think I talked to her. Baruch Hashem, Yom Kippur Eve. Just thank God. I don't believe in God, but it's a good saying. It's like, you gotta love me, and she goes, I'm the best girl you can get. You can't get a better girl than me. In your situation, you can't get a better girl than me. Let's get around. So let's say, like, I finally was convinced, and like, she wants to come down and, like, have sex with me and stuff. And, like, I take her in, and so she comes to my apartment. And, like, I have sex with her, and I get her pregnant and stuff, and, like, she goes, guess what? I went to the doctor today, and I'm having a baby. I'm having a baby. And you know what? He's going to be addicted to crack and heroin. And probably got AIDS. So I was thinking the hope, the dreams that I had as a teenager. It started to, when I first, I told in another podcast that how the horror of that first day I walked into Albany State and descent into madness that my life has become, the horror and it's like, how can this be so, how can this be so off the edge that it's like, bad parenting, the bad role models, it just was so horrendous. It's like you just walked into it's like everything was going good. I went to a really, really good. In fact, it was called the best public high school in America. But you can't get a door. And I just walked into you just walked. Everything went wrong. Couldn't get worse. Just couldn't get worse. So it's like really bad jobs. And finally get a pretty decent job, but it's a horrible job. It's just really not a job I can do. And and then end up in the psych ward, at 53 years old, and people say, my brother said, look where you are. And then the moment when she said, you're the fucking worst girl I can get. You just wake up and you say, holy shit. Like, what do you do? I think I'm trying to figure this out. I have to figure this out. I must figure this out. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe there is a God who's saying, believe in me and I'll get you out of this, Jesus. No, I'm Pastor Hicks from Lubbock, Texas, and I'm going to Jesus, this is a sign from Jesus, and he's going to get, if you believe in him, he'll be your. So I don't understand, why do I have to believe in him, get me out of this. Maybe just pray to him, and you don't have to believe in him, just pray to him. Why do you have to believe him? Why is he fucking a narcissist, just believe in him, and praise him, and he's going to get you out of this, So that was the upsetting thing. Diana. She's the best girl I can get. And, it looks like she wasn't horrible. I've seen worse. She got teeth, maybe, and she lost a little weight, but it's just all that baggage she comes with. But I love you. I want to be with you. I'd give up all the drugs. I'd give up crack for you. I'd give up alcohol. I'd even give up cigarettes for you. What a letdown, man. My last girlfriend, again, I talked this on the previous podcast. Last girlfriend slept with Steven Tyler, Vanilla Ice, and Axl Rose. So we're talking, she again had gone down a bit. The looks were still pretty good, but she had gone down, Her life had become unmanageable. So that's why she went with me. Her rich boyfriend didn't like her anymore. Her ex-boyfriend who had a kid with won a custody battle with her. It's like a real mess, and she started drinking 30 beers a day at one point, and she was still pretty good looking. I used to tell her that she had a lot of time off. I don't know. I guess her ex-boyfriend was current. She was actually a current boyfriend, was supporting her. I said, listen. I said, Vivi. She used to call Vivi Foo. So I said, go, Vivian. Why don't you do this? Why don't you got time off right now. Go to the gym every day. You could. It was amazing. But she was really pretty. She was a gorgeous girl. She had these high cheekbones, Spanish girl, long black hair. And why don't you go to the gym? And beautiful body. It could be like a fitness model. She was so depressed. So Diana was, she's still around, 20 years younger than me. Maybe I'm going to have your baby. That could be funny. She's the type of girl, she lives in a trailer park, and that's her best outcome, I think. She marries some, a hillbilly, a hick guy, like out in New York, you have a lot of hicks. You go outside, the 5 boroughs, and, the metro area, and she meets some guy, he's a construction worker or whatever. And he comes home, gives a little beat, goes to the strip bar, gets drunk, gives a little beating once in a while. And, goes, and then the cops have to come every once in a while. And she's bloody, And she goes, he's a good man. You always see this on cops, right? He's a good man. He don't mean no harm. Don't take him to jail. You know, it's horrible. So Diane is one of these first characters. So let's get to the next one. I might have, come back. Something might cross my mind about Diana. I probably had more in the first the original podcast, like a douchebag. I deleted it out. Okay, so let's get to Gene. I remember the first video. First, I didn't have much to say about it. There's not much to say about Gene. Gene was a 47-year-old guy, and he had I remember he used to walk with a limp, and he was there a really long time. But one thing I say about Gene, he was a nice guy. He never complained. Very quiet, very quiet. One of the things I remember, though, he was the guy, my second roommate, Tevin, he's the first guy that said, I think your new roommate has a twitch, and, he's like this big black guy. It's like, oh, God. So me and Diana and Gene formed like a little group, a little clique, I call it, yeah. And found out a couple of things about Gene. He was a chef, and, if everyone was like Gene, this world would be a lot of, he's just a really quiet guy and deadhead, and, he went with the flow. And one great line from Gene was, I found this funny. So I don't know how this conversation, a lot of people had substance abuse problems, Heroin was common. He had this young girl. You'd never believe this girl was in heroin. She looked like she was 21, and she looked like she's from Long Island, a little Italian girl, not a bad-looking girl. She had, this college T-shirt and, all shit, and she was such a, nice-looking girl, and, no beauty, but, and we were talking about what her problems were. She goes, heroin. It's like, heroin? I see this girl taking heroin. So Gene had a great line. He goes, this is what we were talking amongst each other, and he goes, how could anyone not like heroin? How can anyone, mine is like, how can you not like coke? You know what I mean? So I maybe tried heroin a couple of times, but didn't like it. It's just something about it was strange. Oh, I think spit again. So that's pretty much on Gene, in terms of, it's not much to him. I mean, he was a chef. He had disability. He was on disability. He's also, I heard he's like a chef in a French restaurant, so he couldn't be no slouch. He really had a bad depression. They had to give him, ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, and that shit is, I don't know. I might have to go for that's one of my options, I think. I'm going to ask her. I might have to go for this, I'm going to let the other therapies work. And if I have to go homeless, if I go homeless before they take my apartment, go back into the psych ward, get 15 days stay. And, Mr. Kravitz, you don't have any more insurance, what happens then, These are tough questions, and I don't know the answer to. You get it. I'm tired. I guess everything's always uncertain. Like, you don't know. You don't know what the future holds. You think everything's going to be okay, and might not. So, all right, so that wraps up Gene. The next character is Gina. Oh, God. Now, Gina's and I think I mentioned her in earlier podcasts in the Psych ward. So, Gina was there before I came. And she was an interesting person, not as interesting as the next two people we're going to come across. But Gina was a 58-year-old woman. Now, the first odd thing was she used to come around. Well, first of all, she used to come around with a teddy bear. Teddy bear. what was weird about the teddy bear? Okay, the teddy bear didn't look like clean. I found out why the teddy bear wasn't clean. Um, after Gina left a couple of days before I had to go. I think it was. Let me see. I think she left on Wednesday, and I left on Monday. She usually left like a few days, and when I talked to Diana. Diana told me that you used to masturbate, pleasure herself, using the teddy bear. It's nothing. It's fucking gross, man. It's fucking gross. Oh my god. I gotta put that as a tag. She fucking used to play. The teddy bear was fucking like disheveled. It's like fucking disheveled. You know, like a teddy bear looks nice and clean, and she need to wash the fucking teddy bear. It's like disgusting. And she used to masturbate to a fucking teddy with a teddy bear. A 58-year-old woman carrying around a teddy bear. Oh, it's funny. The first time I did the podcast, I remember like some of the things. She's an Italian woman, and so this comes back to me. And she used to say, "Oh, she was the head of the Gambino crime family." Oh, I'm a Gambino, she used to say, and oh, she was so fucking creepy, this woman. And so she's the head of Gambino crime family. She's a little delusional, I would think. And I'd be very serious. I go, Gina, but I thought Gene Gotti was the head of the Gambino crime family. And she and like almost every day there was an incident. Either she'd have an incident with Princess, which she'll talk about. We'll talk about her. I don't remember how they'd get into a tussle. She'd have an incident with the nurse. Fuck you! And she'd, like when people with their arm up and they hit it like a fuck you sign. I think I spit again. So every day she, would have some kind of incident, and you'd have to be very careful with her because she could fly out of rage. And one thing I wanted to avoid was a fight, because the outcomes were never good. A fight with Gina could not be. First of all, who knows? She's a crazy. She could fucking hurt me. I don't know. I'm not a fighter. I mean, I could probably beat her up. I could probably reason. I could probably kill her. I mean, I'm not that small guy. I mean, I'm 5'8" and 3/4. Let's say 5'9". Probably like 205 pounds, and I'm not a weakling, I mean, I probably am. I probably can't fight. I mean, I don't get into fights, I avoid them. But I could probably kick a lot of people's ass if I got into some fights if I had to. I mean, I could be a little intimidating. I'm pretty big. I used to lift weights, so I'm not a small guy, but I'm kind of wimpy for my size. If you take a guy my size, I'm like I'm the wimpiest guy who weighs 205 pounds. Who has the muscular of me. I'm a pretty big guy. Let me go back and put. I'm not a small guy, so I'm the wimpiest guy who weighs 205 pounds in Forest Hills. Who's 53 years old. I'm just a fucking wimpy motherfucker. But who knows? Because I could get fucking angry. I'm a little volatile. I mean, everyone can say, someone fucking attacks you. Who knows what I'm liable to do? And the outcome is not good, She fucking attacks me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Now, obvious the thing is, get the fuck out of it. Like I always said, if someone attacks you, I mean, I could be like, sometimes I think, someone fucking lays a hand on you, fucking kill them. Fucking someone you could beat up. Like I have a friend, he's like a jiu-jitsu expert. If you ever got mad at me, get the fuck out of there. To me, it's like the jungle. People you kick the ass of, you kick the ass of. People you can't, you get the fuck out of there. You run, It's just the way it is. I mean, or try to defend yourself somehow, You put your head in like a fucking little thing, because... But, like, I always reason, like, what do I do if this woman would fly off the handle? You say the wrong thing. I'll give you an example in a second. She did it a couple of times. Like, I'll give you 2 incidents where she started screaming at me. I mean, there's probably more that would come up. So, got this disgusting teddy bear. It's really gross, man. It's so gross. So like, it's disgusting. Okay, so another thing she do, she had a little, it's already bad. So we used to get these Kindles, and they had like a subscription to the music service. And one of the things you had to do, you had to be good. You had to go to the group sessions, and so she wouldn't go. So as an alternative, they would give you these headphones that played music. So she would come out and sing. Like these headphones she put on the music loud. You don't know how loud you sing. She would go, so I can't sing loud, unfortunately, now, but she would sing really loud. Oh, what a fit. And she would dance around. Sometimes she would dance on the table with the fucking teddy bear. And she's really fucking annoying. I was just thinking of fucking punching her in the fucking face or saying, get the fuck off the table. I was like, I'm going to kick the living shit out of you right now. I mean, she was so fucking creepy, and she was so creepy because when she was gone, I just felt better. And then she would come back in, and you're like, fucking this girl, this woman, she's like the creepiest. I mean, she, like really, she could not do anything. Because if I wanted to, I could probably kill her. I mean, she's just not a big woman. I could just fucking give her a forearm, she'd be dead. But I was thinking, like, whatever, like I had to think it over. What could happen? And the best thing, if she fucking tried, just get the fuck out of there. It's been again. Get the fuck out. Just walk away. Because she can only cause you problems. And I think she's been on disability for like, it's just like some kind of fucking schizophrenia. Who the fuck knows? Manic depression. I mean, I remember they were discussing, do you want to, I don't want to work. And she's like, oh, cigarettes are good for you. I love cigarettes. And she just was atrocious. I remember I was playing ping pong, and she was doing, they have like hula hoops, and it was like a very tight area from the ping pong table to the window of the ward. They have this outside area called the fresh air area. So Skip's going to hit her with the paddle. So I go, this is great. We'll talk about her in a second. This really crazy black lady, African-American lady, Miss McCoy. So I say, Gina, why don't you go over there with the crazy black lady? I'm playing ping pong, and I want to hear you. She screams out me a little laugh. African American. And she's going to say, oh, I'm sorry, African American. So at that point, and there was another incident, I forget what it was, that she really went. Oh, I think I said something dismissive about Creedmoor. She got really mad. She likes Creedmoor. Creedmoor, I love. She got really pissed. And I was like, this woman is fucking. She could. I mean, this was fuck. I think a lot of it was posturing. I could have I mean, but I said, it's not worth it. This fucking woman could quit. I mean, who knows? I'd beat the shit out of her. I'd be up for manslaughter or something. Don't need it. Just don't need it. So. I try to avoid her when I could. There's another guy we're going to talk about. Let's call him Monroe. I mean, I think I was there maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 days in we'll call him Monroe. I don't know if his real name, he might come. I mean, this guy, Gina was like Mother Teresa. We'll talk about Monroe a little bit later. So again, that she had this annoying thing where she would dance with the headphones. She would dance on the table. She would pleasure herself to the teddy bear. She would get into fights, near fights with. She wouldn't get to fights. Again, a lot of it's posturing. She'd get into fights with other patients and et cetera, et cetera. So, it was, with the problem with Gina, and again, she was more bark than bite, I think, that was the thing, but she was really fucking creepy. I mean, one of the patients commented she looked like a drag queen. Yeah, she would be very attractive if she was a guy. What's I going to say about Gina? She had a couple of. Oh, here's another one. I mean, probably a lot of things come up, but there might be some more things that might come to my mind, so I might come back to her at a certain point. Another thing she had. Here's another thing she would do is, she had a little group. We had basically Diana, a Jean and me and Princess started to hang out with us. We didn't mind Princess, but she was like really fucking annoying. We'll get to what Princess was about in a second, and she would try to sit with us, and Princess and Jean did not like each other, and they would get into fights. So, God, I forgot what I was gonna say about Gina. I hate that. It was a little side thing, and so. Oh boy, it'll come back. It'll come back. So Gina and Princess, kind of hate each other. And she always we always watched out for this woman. She was just so fucking creepy, man. Creeped the fucking living crap out of me. I've never had a woman that she always, she wanted attention. I never saw a 58-year-old woman want attention like her. She was really creepy. Okay. Here's another time she got mad at me. So I'm sitting at the table, and I like to, talk to people, so get a feel for them. So I introduced myself, and she said it was Gina. This is I first met her, and so I said to her, she got some food, and then I said to her, so how you doing today? She goes, excuse me. She yells at me really loud. I'm eating. I don't like to talk when I'm eating. I said, I'm sorry. And shit up. That was I think she blew up me at least 3 times, and just, whew. And I'm gonna leave Gina because there's a lot of shit that the masturbation and there's another story. I forgot how it came up. I said to her, just kidding around, we should get a hotel room. She goes, I know. She goes, I'm not your type. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not your type. You'd be lucky if a guy like me looked at you. And so I'm saying, okay, she thinks I'm ugly. That's okay, good. Not be attracted to me. And then she had this thing where every guy is good looking, right? Every guy is not every guy. I'm sorry. Every girl is beautiful. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh, you everybody is beautiful. Darling, you're so beautiful. Everybody, even me. I took off my glasses. She goes, you look so good without your glasses. So I go to him. So my great wit. Gina, when someone's beautiful, the implication that people are ugly is an implication. Beauty also implies people are also ugly, So I don't mind to be ugly, So that's okay to be ugly, So it's okay. I'll be ugly. I'll be gladly be ugly. And so anytime so it's okay. I'm glad to be ugly. I don't care. It's fine. So you don't have to say. I thought you might explode. But she didn't care really. So that was okay. But I'll gladly be ugly. Regina. Then, so it was she would sit down with us. We would outside our little group, and we would get rid of Princess, which is good. So I like to go outside with Diane and Jean. It was me, great Jew atheist, Diana, Jean, and Gina would sit down with us, and so I would sometimes engage her, and so she would also sometimes tell why. And this was one of them, and I forget how it came up. And she goes to me, one of the doctors, he comes up. And he raped me, He raping me all the time. This doctor, I'm gonna kill him if he comes up and rapes me. He comes up. He works the night shift, and he comes up and he rapes me. Okay. Okay. Gina. So I said, well, Gina, so it's very serious. I said, well, how do I handle it? She's talking to me about it. Now, if I totally blow it off and say you're crazy, I mean, who knows? I said, well, that's a serious charge, Gina. Maybe you need to get some evidence on this. This is a very, I mean, might be able to sue him. That says take this maybe to, you should talk to someone in the administration. I mean, this is serious stuff. Do you have any witnesses? I mean, and it worked actually, because she, I forgot the story. She said she went more deep into it, and then she said something about a mother, her daughter sending up some demons or something. Woo! And she lived in South Ozone Park or Ozone. Who the fuck? No, then. I mean, so I know I would engage her, but I try to avoid her. She would creep the fuck, and she would mostly in her room, but then she would come out, and because we would, because we were the one. I guess she felt comfortable with, the group. Diane and Gina and Princess would come to us too, and she would always have a problem with Princess, because maybe Princess. She would go. She was a little slow, Princess, and she'd have this thing, and Princess will talk more about, and Princess would have this thing with, I don't like you, and she has hair on the side. She was a lazy eye. She has a piece of gum all in the mouth. She's fucking really fucking bizarre. Fucking. I could take it. She wasn't the best looking guy. She wasn't horrible. Maybe she lost 100 pounds. Did something with her hair. Had the gum, and she's really slow. She's slow adult. She's a retard. As Artie Lang says, she's a retard. She's retarded. Fucking retarded. So Gina was a fascinating person. I mean that's the thing about the psych ward. You don't realize how nutty these people are. And she really creeped me out. I mean, I never met, I don't think, there's people that were crazy but didn't creep me out. I don't think anyone creeped me out like her. She really fucking creeped me out. Just talking about her, I'm fucking creeped out. That's the thing. Being creeped out there. That is, sorry. The thing. She creeped me out. You're always looking for, where's Gina? She's not here. Great. It's so good. It was such a experience. You can't. Now, and the one thing I got out of it was, it's really bad if you're depressed, because if you're depressed, and like me, I'm not a violent person, I'm not delusional. I'm just depressed. I'm really fucking depressed, and I'm still depressed. 2 months, and you've heard, you heard my other podcast, Life of Suffering. In 2 months, you don't get better. You don't become non-suicidal. I was suicidal too. I'm still suicidal. There's no change. Do you want to hurt you? Of course. Of course I want to hurt myself, and I want to, yeah, of course. So who doesn't, Who amongst us does not want to die? Come on. You gotta want to die. You're not normal. I don't know about that, but, who hasn't lived long enough that they wouldn't want to die? Okay, maybe someone young who hasn't gone through, maybe someone's a magical life, who hasn't had, breakups, who hasn't had financial difficulties. I've had it all, I've been crippled, let's say. Who hasn't had substance abuse problems? Who hadn't been fired? I've almost been fired from even the one fired from every job. I think I've been almost fired from every job I've ever had. And the one job I did good on, they almost fired me too, because I think I was late a couple of days. They were really crazy, because, it was a teaching job. And I couldn't believe it. I was taking Klonopin and my anxiety, and they were a little rough. I thought I mean, 2 times. I mean, it was pretty good. I've never called an absence, and I was on Clonopin, and they got really fucking pissed. I mean, I think they would just give me a warning, and they were ready to fucking fire me. And they basically said, "Listen, if you don't, we have it arranged that we're going to terminate your employment if you're late again. And we have it arranged. We have teachers going to cover this and that, but you can't be like." I got really pissed. I said, "Listen, I'm on this medication, and I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. This medication's. I'm going to try. I'm going to set 2 alarms, but I think you're being unreasonable." And the guy boss got really fucking mad. He got up. He yelled at me. I got up. It's like we're ready to have a fist fight. So it's too late. I mean, usually my other job was fucking. I mean, I deserve to be fired. I'm not kidding. It was just horrible. If I just went in and I was drunk on the job, got home. Okay, so I think this is a good point to end this, because I got a lot of good stories to tell you. I have, like, I could start, like, okay, so just let me tell you what's coming up to get you excited, about Psych Ward. So I think we're going to cut this video now. So I could go, and the next person is really interesting, and the person that does really interesting thing, I got Princess, George, Miss McCoy. Those 3 are really interesting. The Crazy Irons guy, probably not that interesting. The Juice for Jesus girls, Cutters, the bodybuilder, and Cindy, and I think the most crazy motherfucker there, Monroe. I call him Monroe because I'm scared he's gonna come after me. And so stay touched for this part. It's actually a new video, podcast number 7, which is really I wanted to break this into 2 parts because I don't know how long these stories are going to go, especially with the next 3. That might go podcast 8. I don't know, because Princess is a fascinating character. This is so much you could just. I mean, and George too. I don't know, George. I could do maybe 2 videos. I mean, maybe I don't know. He is just like a fascinating guy. And just and he wasn't. It's funny thing about George. When we talk about him, he wasn't a dummy. I mean, like most of these people don't have good educations, but George, I always saw some intelligence to him. He's not a dumb guy, and one of the really fascinating things about George, and George had done a really, really bad thing, and when I tell you about it, I mean, and this is the thing that really fascinated me, that women, for some reason, always loved George, and like 2 women always were. The 2 women, I'll talk about this in more detail, gave George, like, they cared for him so, like a mother. It's almost like a mothering thing. They gave him so much. They, like, one of them, the one that took Diana upstate, she's calling him, at the ward, and how's he doing, and George, I'm George. I can't believe. I gotta tell the Demi Lovato story. That is one of the great. That is got to be one of the greatest stories of all time. But there's a lot of good stories. I mean, you can make a sitcom on this. People are too sensitive, but it's funny fucking shit. I mean, George, I got stories on George that are just like fucking blow your mind. I mean, he is a funny fucking dude. He's like a funny fucking dude. And it's like, I don't know, maybe somebody's a psychiatrist again, great Jew atheist when I tell the story in the next podcast, psychiatrist or psychologist, fascinating what kind of mental condition he has. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's probably some kind of, schizophrenic, borderline personality, Um, and he's also very violent. That got me scared. But his violence, unfortunately, maybe fortunately for me, is directed at women, which is not a good thing. Um, and that was one of the worst things I saw at the psych ward is a assault on a nurse, like a greenie actually, and it was done by George, and we'll discuss that. And that was really bad. I mean that might have just put me over the edge. I don't know if I can recover from that. That was really really sick. I mean that was like, it wasn't me. I don't know, and I'll discuss it when we get to George. But um, and it's funny. And it's almost like I can't figure this out. When you leave the war, when you leave the hospital, psychiatric hospital, they give everybody, a survey about the treatment. And for some reason, they did not give me anything. And I think they kind of knew that I was a little clever. I was a little smart. And I was always like, I was like almost on their level. And they knew, like, not give this guy anything because maybe they did. I don't know. I was so stressed out during that period. That last few days, and Monroe did not help. Monroe, I was like, holy shit. I mean, I was scared for my life. I was literally scared. So, I don't remember. I don't think they were almost scared that I was going to say some shit, that they were going to that real problem, because they knew I was clever. They knew I could say something. Because the other patients, like, they were crackheads, basically. And they were borderline, fringe members of society. They knew I had a high IQ. They knew I wasn't dumb. They knew I worked for New York State. I'm not, I'm no dummy. I mean, I saw some shit go down that this is not good. I mean, this was some things that you would not see at, I mean, the assault just in itself, and the way it was handled. There's a lot of things that I'm like, how can they let that go on? And, I mean, I know about mental wards and, a lot of shit goes on and they're overworked. I get that. But some of the things, and probably the next few patients it's going to really come out that there's just there's no good reason why this stuff happened. And, I couldn't, again, they were overworked and, again, I know all this stuff. But, okay, so that takes care of podcast 6, video 1, part 3 of 3. And we're going to do 7, maybe tonight. I want us to see my plan. Usually I try to fast for Yom Kippur, even though I'm not religious. And let me just tell you a little bit about this. And even though I'm not religious, I always found Yom Kippur to be a beneficial holiday, especially the fast. And depriving yourself of food and water and the other amenities of life for 24 hours, I always found to be beneficial, because by missing them, subconsciously, I think it gives you a little drive. And I think one of the reasons why Jews tend to be successful is you purposely build discipline through not doing these amenities. And probably the most successful Jews are the Orthodox Jews, because they purposely, without any good reason, because there's no God, of course, even though they make believe there is, God gets man. One of the things you can't do, I mean, there's a list of them. They're just unreal. You can't tear paper. So I got to take a shit. I got to take a deuce, I call them. And so I go in, and if there's no paper already I remember my mother on Yom Kippur, for some reason, really, actually, the Sabbath is actually a holier day than Yom Kippur. And so my mother, she used to have pre-torn pieces of paper so you could wipe your hole. And so let's say I'm an Orthodox Jew, for example, and I forget to do that. There's a lot of things you got to prep. You have to have your lights go order. They have like these things that automatically turn your lights on and turn them off, because you can't turn on power. God gets mad, and you forget to tear your paper. and then you gotta take a dump, because sometimes you gotta take a shit. What do? You might have to fucking let your bunghole be full of shit. It's gonna stink. You gotta go hide the stink. I remember the synagogue, for some reason, it stunk really bad for some reason. These old men, I guess they smelled and they didn't wipe their ass too good, and everything was really bad. So, just for this crazy belief, that doesn't make any sense. But, I guess it's good in a way, but certain things are just ridiculous, like the electricity thing. God did not know about electricity, I guess using some other power form besides the body was not good. Maybe, I don't know. It's just bizarre. It's really bizarre stuff. I mean, this is fucking bizarre to the nth degree. I mean, now for you people, you Christian fundamentalists, you hillbillies, bizarre to the nth degree. Now this has to do with exponential things, and that's kind of hard to explain to you hillbillies. I don't understand. What is this Jew talking about? Nth degree. Well, maybe we'll give you a little math lesson one day so you can understand me. I don't understand. Now, what is this Jew talking about? So, but I think it's a good holiday. So, that's the tough thing. I think we can borrow, like one of the tough philosophical questions is, can we borrow from religion things that we find useful, and is Yom Kippur, the idea of fasting one day and not doing certain things, like not driving. My sister and my brother-in-law, they got to drive together to synagogue. So they want to walk 6 miles. Some people do that. So these nutty Jews, nutty Jews, you're nutty. They do that, they're crazy. But within reason, and the answer is they might be useful because they establish discipline. Maybe take them one day in a week, and take one day. That's what maybe as atheists we might borrow from them. We might say, let's take one day in the week, and we rest. You basically don't do anything, or we don't read crazy religious books, but maybe we get together and we talk about things, and that might be a good thing. We go, and the problem is we don't believe there would be a prohibition on us. Like, we don't believe that if we don't go and pray to a higher being, it might end up in hell. So that would be tough to enforce. The problem is enforcement and sales. Again, atheism does not sell well. So, but I think that would be a really good idea. Good sales, a good thing within the atheist movement, the free thought movement, is to try to set up a day of rest, set up a day where we all get together in a hall, and we discuss things. We discuss sobriety. We discuss politics. We discuss anything wants to bring up. Just get tickets to the Giant Jet game, if you like them. Could be a new direction, and I think the problem with being an atheist is loneliness. Maybe that's why I'm so lonely. We think differently. We're smarter. Because you're religious people. Yeah, you gotta admit, you're dumb. You're just dumb. You're dumb. I'm sorry. Nothing wrong with being dumb. Nothing wrong. I'm dumb. I'll admit it. I don't know how to do a lot of things. I mean, like my brother got mad at me. I didn't know how to put the leash on the dog. I'm a fucking moron. But I'm not dumb enough to believe. I mean, I could see value again. And again, that's the tough argument. We all have to say, does religion have any value? And I think it does. I think certain things, like, certain things that religion has come up with do have value. I'm not saying the myths themselves. I mean, to actually believe that there's going to be some guy that's going to, kind of help us, reach salvation is kind of tomfoolery. Okay, so I'm making this came out, I think it's pretty good, making this almost exactly an hour. So thank you, and I think you're going to look forward to podcast number 7. So have a good evening. If you're Jewish, have a happy Yom Tov holiday. Bye-bye.